Hello everyone, it's Della DuLac. Today I'm going to share with you some cards that I did with the Moonlit Flora bundle. Specifically, we're going to use the Fern and Flora stamp set and the DSP. Beautiful paper, love it. Here's some of the paper. Let's take a look at these. So you get two of each sheet. Beautiful paper. It can be the star of the show because it is so pretty. Let me show you this side, and then I'll flip that over and show you some of the back side. More prints than this side is all the beautiful floral and ferns, and then we've got some of just these print designs on the back side. Super pretty. Let's move that. I'll show you some of the cards I did, and then we'll cut up some. So here are a few of my card samples. So with this one here, I took my piece of the DSP, and since I knew I was going to put a mat over it, I wanted to cut out that center piece. So I found a die that was around the same size as the mats that I wanted to use. So I cut this piece out first, and then I did all my mats, put them together, did a little stamp on the inside. Here is the stamp set and the matching dies. So I've cut all of these little guys out, put these together. I like to get as much out of my paper as I can, and then I have some little stamps on the inside, little flowers here. I'm going to take some strips that you have, did a little tearing. And for the greetings on these, I did from the, let's see if I can find it. Here it is in the catalog. So right here. So we've got some of the ephemera pack for the greetings. It's kind of small to see. This is a great one. It has a ton of different greetings in here. Perfect to just grab a few, stick on some cards. That's what I did with a few of these. And then these, are, of course, are from the stamp set. Super cute. Did a lot of layering, cut out with some of the dies, some of the stamps. This is a similar layout. And then here I did some stamping and the dies together to create the background. And did this fold, vertical fold. Super cute. A lot of fun to play with. And then some more of the DSP and some strips. This is my typical, I'm going to cut that one here. That's typically how I like to cut my DSP. And then I have the strips to use on the inside. And then this one is just the stamp set and some color. And then these couple here are great to, if depending on how you like to cut up your DSP, if you have a lot of strips left over, you can combine them to create a background. Little stamps on the inside. This one here again. Just used up a few of the strips and some of the dies, cut out the ferns, did some stamped little flowers, colored those. A lot of fun ways to use just some different cuts. I don't typically do these, but those are a great way to use up some strips. So let's move the cards. I'm going to show you how I usually cut mine. So let's do this piece of paper right here. And then let me get my cutter. All right. So I really do like to just cut a lot of my paper up like this. So depending on how you want your paper to be, your card to be, so if you want it to be horizontal or vertical. So this one I want to be vertical, so we're going to create a card with this piece up here. So I'm going to cut mine this way. I'm going to cut it at 6. So these are 12 by 12 pieces. So I'm going to cut it at 6. And now I have two 12 by 6 pieces, right? So we're going to put these, actually I'll just set that one aside. So now that I have it 6 by 12, I will take and do my mat. Most all of my mats on my cards are 5 1/4 by 4. So now I'm going to cut this piece at 5 1/4. So I'm going to have this strip over here that I'm going to use on the inside of my cards. So now I've got this piece. Now I'm going to turn this and cut 3 4-inch pieces so I can make 3 different cards. So that'll be one. And we'll put this in at 4 and cut this one. Now I've got 3 4 by 5 1/4. Now you can do the same thing with this one. And then I've got my little strip here. Let's cut that real quick. So when you do this, you can make 6 cards out of one 12 by 12 piece of paper. So I've got all of these little pieces here that I'm going to put on the inside of my cards. So we'll cut that one later. But this one is the one I want for now. And then I have these 3 pieces to put on the inside of my card. I want to have this one over here. Let's put that one with this one. Okay, so I've got these pieces here, and I already have a Peaceful Pine card base folded and ready to go. And then I have a white piece. Since this is a dark color card, I want to put this on the inside. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm just going to put a strip of adhesive on the back of this, and you can either put it at the top or the bottom. Doesn't matter, unless your print has a different orientation. You want to do it that way. Okay, so we're going to put that at the bottom, and let's do this on the inside of my card. Okay, and we'll put that on the inside. I always like to line up my 3 sides, or look kind of eyeball. Make sure I've got an even on 3 sides, and then I'll put that down. Okay, and then we're going to put this one on. Like that. There we go. Very pretty. Love this big moth butterfly. Okay, so very pretty. And I've done a little bit of stamping and die cutting ahead of time. So we're going to have a happy birthday down here. But I want a little bit of layering with some ferns and these little tiny flowers. Let me show you on the die. And this, let's find one of these cards again. Let's come back to that first card. So these tiny little flowers is this die right here. So it's one piece, but it'll cut out 6 little pieces for you to put together to make 3 flowers. It's a little tedious, I'm telling you right now. I probably won't use them quite as often, but they are very cute. I'm going to show you how they go. So here's the little tiny piece. Let's find all of these. I have the little stem. I've already cut and glued one of them together. I'm going to show you these here. And they're so tiny. You either want some tweezers, or you take your pick tool and you want just a little tiny piece, just a little tiny dab of glue. So we're going to layer this one up. Let's grab the tweezers. Okay, so they look like little bow ties, which you probably could use them for that, but you're going to put them together like this. Okay, so I've got that one, and then this one's just a little bit different style of flower. They are very tiny. Now this one will go to that. Let's get the putty side of the Take Your Pick tool for this one. So let's put another tiny little dab of glue here. And then we'll take our little putty end. We're going to pick this up, stick that on top of there. Make sure it doesn't come off. Now we're going to stick this guy on first to create this little flower. So tiny little dab of glue. We're going to stick this one like that. And now we're going to pick this piece up. Oops. My fingernail just shot that across here. Let's grab that again. Okay. Stay. It's a little futzy, but it's very cute. All right, that's probably a little too much glue. Let's layer that up. Something like that. Oh, stay. All right. It's always nice to have a little piece of tissue handy in case you need to blot some of that glue. Okay, there we go. Now let's put it on our stem here. So we've got these little pieces right here to put your flower on. Okay. And then we'll get this one up here. And this one over here. Okay. We're going to let that sit over there for a minute. Those. All right. So, I still need that glue because we want to put our ferns on. Something like this. Let's get this guy first. Let's move that. All right. And you can put these on in a number of different ways. If you really want to cut a few tiny pieces of foam tape or dimensionals, you can have them sticking up. But the surface is so tiny, I just do a little dabs of glue. Okay, so what? One like that. And then we'll stick this one on. So I did one in garden green and a mossy meadow. I love the colors that they have in this paper. Green is one of my favorite colors, so having all these beautiful shades of green is kind of cool. All right, so we'll layer that up like that, and then we'll come back to this guy. A bit more the back of those. Okay, and then let's have this one, something like that. Okay, and now for my tag, I already put some dimensionals on the back of that, just to save a little time, so you're not watching all of those little parts. Okay, and then we'll just put this down here. Very cute. Okay, and then just to add a little bit of bling, we've got some matching dewdrops. I love that. Let's do a couple colors here. Let's do that one. And there's a couple different sizes. Here's a clear. And then let's do one of each color. So we've got the 3 colors, and then we've got a green one. Okay. Well, I guess it wants to be right there. All right. Very cute. Love it. And we can even jazz it up even more, and let's Winka Stella this pretty little moth butterfly. Just add some, Winka Stella is a great thing to have on hand. Sometimes when you're making a card and you feel like, it just needs just a little pizzazz, a little sparkle, Winka Stella is your best friend. It's kind of hard to see in this view on the camera, but it is very sparkly. Very pretty. I hope you like my cards today and think about this bundle or all of the wonderful things that come in this suite. So we've got the beautiful Fern and Flora bundle. Have a great day. Be sure to give me a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that bell button so you don't miss a video. Have a great day.